In the midst of all the hype around the newly released models like Claude, Gemini, or GPT, I bet you missed this one and it slipped under the radar. In this video, I'm going to show you what it is and evaluate how well it handles our test prompt. It's a prompt we've been using against all models for over a year now. So stick around to find out if this model is best for you and your coding needs. The model we're going to take a look at today is called Raptor Mini, and it's brought to us by the folks over at GitHub. Now that you know what model it is that you likely missed, let's get into testing it out. For that, we're going to use the same prompt we've used with all our other models so we can see how well they all compare. We're looking for a fully functional, production-ready, and secure app at the end of all this. Now, if you stick around to the end, I'll also share a helpful resource I came across that does a great job describing what all these current models are best used for. But before that, let's go send this prompt to Raptor Mini and see how it goes. All right, so within the Visual Studio Code GitHub Copilot view, I have Raptor Mini selected in agent mode, and I'm gonna paste in the prompt and I'm gonna send it in. Now, while that's working, if you're not familiar with this, you're new here, this prompt is asking the model to create a Node.js application for note-taking. It's got to be able to create, read, update, delete notes, and it's got to be production ready and secure. I also emphasize this to the model by giving it a little bit more of like a drastic situation that like, if it's not all that, if it doesn't figure all of that out for me, I might be fired here. So it's really important to get all of this right. So with that in mind, we're going to let it run and do its thing. I'll go through some of the permissions to let it run what it needs to run, and we'll cut back in when the model is done working on this prompt. So when these things are happening, I tend to like try to do my best to keep up and follow along with all the messages that the model writes down in the chat prompt here. And this one got me laughing. It feels great to stay organized. I'm really happy for you, Raptor Mini. Good on you for staying organized. Well done. All right, Raptor Mini finished working on that prompt, and it took probably around 3 to 5 minutes to get done. So fairly fast, relatively speaking to the latest models out there. And let's take a look at what it implemented. So a lot of files and folders were added here. A set of those files that stand out to me is the Docker compose, Docker file, Docker ignore. That stuff is interesting to see. It's not unusual. Like we've seen that from other models in the past take that route, but it's been a while since I've seen recent models do that. So it's interesting that Raptor is kind of resurfacing that approach to containerizing or defaulting to containerizing the application we asked it to build for us here. Outside of the files and folders it created, let's take a look at the summary of what Raptor Mini implemented here. So create a secure production-ready Node.js notes app with the following main items. We got authentication. It's using password hashing with Argon 2, and then server-side sessions stored in a PostgreSQL. I forget how to pronounce that. PostgreSQL database. Then we have CRUD endpoints, some strong security with Helmet, cross-site request forgery protection with the CSRF package. It strikes again. But we have that in there, some rate limiting, and then input validation with the JOI library there. Database using Next migrations and seeds. So this vaguely or briefly heard of Next before. Haven't personally used it, but I'm aware of it. So it's interesting that it took that route. And then when it comes to tests, which is nice to see, not all the models default to writing tests right away. It's set up Jest and Super Tests to go through a few scenarios for testing there. For local development, okay, that's nice. So it has Docker file and Docker compose for local development, non-root container user there. Some continuous integration pipeline via GitHub Actions running lint, test, and npm audit. Okay, that's cool to see. Where was that put in here? GitHub ci.yaml YML. Okay, what else we got? Files added, changed at a high level. Not worried about that. How this is secure. We kind of highlighted on that already with the rate limiting and all that. All right, here we go. I'm going to run through getting this set up to run locally, and then I'll come back and we'll see how things go. All right, really quick note and update while I'm setting up the project here. I'm trying to npm install dependencies, and it's saying no matching version for Argon 2. So did Raptor Mini make that one up, or what's going on here? I'm going to investigate further and let you know, but just a heads up on that as a result here with this model. I'm on npm.js. I searched for Argon 2. Came up with this result where you can npm install Argon 2. So it didn't make up the package, but it seems like it made up the version. In the package JSON, it's trying to install 0.34.9 for Argon 2. But if we look at the version history of Argon 2 on npm, there is no 0.39 it goes up to 0.31.2, but it seems to either hallucinate that version, or maybe that version got pulled off of NPM's registry for some reason. So anyway, I'll go to the latest version, 0.44, and see how things work from there. Unfortunately, right after doing that, it seems it may have done something similar with this next package. So let's double check on that one as well. Since there's no matching version 2.7.0 for Nex, let's check on NPM, search for Nex. That's the one. What are the versions? 2.7.0 does not exist. We have 2.5.1, so I'm gonna go with that one. All right, quick summary of all the ones I had to do that for. It was super tests, Nex, and Argon, okay? And I will push those changes. You'll see it in the commit history of what I had to change for reference if you'd like later on. Oof, all right, we ran into another error when I tried to npm start and run the application after npm install. It seems that it did not add express session as a dependency, even though it's requiring it here in the index.js file. And so I run into this error, cannot find module express session. So I'm gonna add that manually, but also calling this out as well as one other mistake that's happened here. All right, so I got everything set up. I got a database seeded and everything like that for this. But when I run npm start, it does get a server running on port 3000. It shows this error message of failed to prune sessions. This number pool.query is not a function. Not sure what that's about, to be honest with you all. When I go to localhost 3000 in the browser, I get an internal server error, and we look at the logs, and we can see more of that type error. This is not a function that's happening in the connect PG simple package. So I'm not going to dive deeper into trying to sort this out. I'm kind of leaving most of these models as is so you can see exactly what happened on the first take with a prompt for that model. So I'll push these changes up so you can see the difference between the original source and what I had to slightly change just to at least get it running to some degree, to this level at least. And then you can check it out yourself up on the repo on github.com. Link for that will be in the description below. With that done, I think we can safely say that it didn't really fulfill the needs of building a functioning note-taking app like we've seen other models do in the past with that same prompt. Now we're at a point where we want to evaluate the security of the code that the model wrote and the packages, the open source packages that it chose to depend upon for this project. And for that, we're going to leverage Snyk via the extension in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to run the tests and scans on that. And we can see open source security wise, we have a medium severity issue here. When I click on that, this is introduced via none other than the CSRF module, which we've seen in the past. So not necessarily a ding against Raptor Mini in this case, since most models are running into this for this prompt, but still one day CSRF will not show up and this vulnerability will not show up in the results when we test the security of these things. Outside of that, we move on from the open source dependencies to the actual code that Raptor Mini wrote. And we have a few issues here that we need to investigate. We have 8 total. We have a high severity one in index.js, which is saying that there's a hard-coded non-cryptographic secret being used right here on line 51. And I think this is just something that we need to investigate a little bit further, but it is likely not a huge issue because when we look here, all right, so we're setting up the session and the secret for that session is derived from the environment variable, but it defaults to a change me value. And so that's likely what Snyk is pointing out is if you forget to put a session secret, you leave it to this defaulted hard-coded one. That is not a good practice. We should get rid of that and remove it and rely on either an environment variable or some other means to define that secret for these sessions. Next up, we have a medium severity one in this demo.user.js. So this is related to the database seeding and migration scripts that the model built for us to help get things started. This can be safely ignored. We can tell Snyk to ignore this one because it's just a script that we would run locally to get a development database set up and running. Same for this issue with this fix use of hard-coded passwords here. Moving on, we have some test files that are also getting picked up. Again, we just need to alert Snyk to ignore those files. We don't need to worry about the code security of those since they're running tests for us. They're low severity on top of that. So overall, from a code perspective, it did a decent job with the one exception of the hard-coded secret. So not too shabby, not too bad. And we can give some props there to Raptor Mini in the result of the code that it wrote for this prompt. With that, the results speak for themselves. We don't really have a fully functioning note-taking application that can create, read, update, delete notes, or even let us log in. that type of thing. We have some more work to do to get it even into that state to try and access that functionality that might be available in the rest of the code here. On top of that, security standpoint, it did okay there. It did make some similar mistakes that other models have made, but overall, decent. Not too bad, not too shabby. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that there was a resource I came across while researching into Raptor Mini that I found to be super useful in determining the best use cases for each model that's out there. So let me show you that now. So one thing I found is that docs.github.com has a great rundown of all the models that are available through it. And I came across here when I was trying to find out, where did Raptor Mini come from? What are the details behind it? And Raptor Mini is basically an OpenAI model that's been fine-tuned by Microsoft and GitHub for coding purposes. It is managed on the Azure OpenAI tenant by GitHub as well, or deployed that way. So that's some details on Raptor Mini and what's going on with that. But in addition to that, I wanted to understand more about it, Raptor Mini, and I came across this other resource again on docs.github.com, which gives you an AI model comparison for all the models that are available via GitHub Copilot. And in particular, you can see this table here, recommended models based on task. It goes through each model here, the task area that you might be utilizing it for, and what it excels at, the primary use case in that task area. So when we go down, we can see Raptor Mini really isn't intended to be used in the way that I used it today in this video. It's a general purpose coding and writing model. It's fast, accurate completions and explanations. It's not meant for full code generation or complex problem solving challenges, like giving it that vibe coded type of prompt that we've been using with all the other models in the past. So the idea with Raptor Mini, and a use case that I think I might find to be super helpful in the various projects I'm working on, is when I have small piecemeal coding tasks that I wanted to accomplish, like making logic changes, adding functions, removing code, maybe writing tests and documentation. Those are probably the best use cases for a model like Raptor Mini in this situation. Now, there's more to this documentation that gives you details on which models excel best at different tasks, more specific tasks like general purpose coding and writing, fast help with simple and repetitive tasks, what models to use for that, and so on. I'll link to this in the description below so you can check it out further yourself. But this is going to be a highly valuable resource to help you decide which models to use when in your projects. On that note, that does it for this video. If you got value out of it, be sure to like it down below and share it with somebody who could put it to use. And if you made it this far, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and happy safe coding, everyone.